Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for this Monday edition of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. English language is primary language. Doesn't seem like it all the time, but I, of course, am your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor here at Kraken Cryptocurrency. I want to give a shout out to everybody and hope you're doing fantastic wherever you do happen to be tuning in from. Of course, we've got an interesting day today. Good weekly candle closes yesterday. Seems like I need to do, pull up the green screen. You guys are being privy to the bat cave right there. That's where the magic happens back there. Anyways, all right. Let's say hello to the chat, guys. We got some interesting stuff going on today. I see Jasper in the chat. What's going on? You're taking going to be playing the Kraken Cryptocurrency drinking game today. So every time I say broadly speaking, I believe the initiation is to take a drink. I don't recommend that you do that. You probably will be drunk before the break. It's just the wrong time of day for me to be trading anyways. But for those of you joining us from the Eurozone, feel more than happy to kind of toss off your evening with the alcoholic beverage of your choice. Turd Ferguson, man, how are you doing, man? How do you all feel about the huge drop in shorts on Finex? Fuel for the dump, possibly. Let's see here. Nope, rumors that was just one huge account selling his stuff over the counter. Ooh, makes the old trapdoor pucker a bit. You guys are funny. Ron Legato, good to see you, man. Wayne Tech, Bitmain dropping a new BTC miner tomorrow. That is correct. Wendy, anyone here go to Punk Feet in Jim Falls, Wisconsin back in the day? I don't know what that is, man, but sounds like it could have been fun. Ed Webb, good to see you, man, from Colorado. Scott, good to see you in the chat as always, my main man. Andrew Munns, Eli back. Thank you so much for the $5, my good friend. He says, can you please take a look at Verge? Of course, we can take a look at Verge. Let me hop over here to the schedule. And okay, so that's actually going to be the next thing. But yes, we'll be more than glad to take a look at Verge for you, my good dude. Thank you so much for the $5. You're one of the good ones. Let's see here. The comments in the chat. Don Patrick. Is today a fear of correction sell day? We'll get into that when we get into the chat. All right, and for anybody following and watching along on Twitch, highly appreciate it as well. Trunk Boy, thanks so much for the follow on Twitch, my good man. All right, let's get over here into the live scene. I know what you guys are here for. Let's do it. Oh, before we begin, I would be remiss if I did not mention a few things. All right, cool. Here we are. I would be remiss, of course, if I did not mention at the beginning, if you guys, there's 2 days left, I do believe. Let me refresh this to make sure it is 2 days, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 days. It seems like it was like 5 days yesterday. No, it's 2 days. Anyways, there is 15% off everything in the merch store. If you guys do want to go get yourself a t-shirt or a coffee mug, again, I have been told by the scientists that drinking your coffee, your morning coffee or your evening coffee, or perhaps even your evening champagne out of a Kraken Cryptocurrency HODL mug or wearing a t-shirt actually improves the efficacy of your trading by about 80 to 90% and will also improve your personal attractiveness by about 75%. I know it doesn't look like I've got a Kraken Cryptocurrency merch t-shirt on, but there is a piece of apparel on. I can't say which because that might get me banned from the live air, but I can just say it's going down. So 15% off for the next 2 days. Make sure you guys go check out the new blog post on the Kraken Cryptocurrency blog. If you guys haven't checked that out, it's correlating the difference between, or correlating the explosion with the Lightning Network nodes growing as Bitcoin's price has accelerated as well. All right, so let's get back over into this. We're going to start with Bitcoin, of course. Interesting. This just popped up, actually. So this was actually not just like this a few minutes ago, the last time that I looked, but we are getting the daily sell signal from time transformation on the daily chart for the Tether. Let's go over here to, now I'm interested in that. Let's go over to the daily on BitMEX and see if we are getting that same indication as well. We are not getting the daily sell signal yet here on BitMEX, but again, putting in one of those other nasty indecision candles. We put one in here, though, however, and we accelerated for another 2 days, having another up reach here toward the previous high that we actually reached here on BitMEX, reaching a high of 53.48. So interesting to keep your eye on. That is a pretty strong signal. We haven't gotten a confirmed sell signal on Bitcoin from time transformation since, yeah, we haven't gotten a daily sell signal on Tether since back here in July, and then 2 more in August and September 2018. We just have simply not been that overbought on the daily. You can see right here on TT that we actually would have gotten a confirmed sell signal here had the cross under occurred in the overbought zone. It did not, and if you guys will recall, this is perhaps famously now at this point, one of the areas where we did short Bitcoin from 41.14, mainly based on that purple dot of death. Now, you have to understand that when something is trending quite strongly, overbought and oversold conditions aren't really that prevalent. So again, anytime where you're going to range trade and you're going to, when price is ranging as opposed to trending very strongly, you can use time transformation multiple different ways. You can use it as a trending indicator. You can use it as a ranging indicator. We've been utilizing it as a ranging indicator because for the majority of time, Bitcoin's price has been ranging on the higher time frames, except for with few exceptions, this movement right here, and more recently, this movement right here. But all of this, everything in between, everything pretty much since the drop back in December 2017 has been ranging behavior and activity. We're utilizing basically your overbought or oversold indicator of your choice has been doing diamonds for you on the meso to higher time frames. And I think again, you guys know which camp that I fall into quite strongly here looking at time transformation. So this is actually going to be really interesting. If the movements in Bitcoin, I would expect to be quite violent and volatile. But if this does confirm on the daily, I will now seeing this, I do have to take every indication that my strategy gives me. I will be taking this down to 4,900 at the very least. Should the daily close this way. We've got quite a bit of time, so I'm going to have to look for something in the interim. But that's interesting. You often don't see something live on the air that I wasn't prepared for to talk about, but that did just happen. That just happened. So we'll be watching that really closely. Now, moving on from that, we'll get back to that here in just a little bit. Let's get over. Okay, so let's update the schedule, and we are going to add. We went through all this yesterday. Not yesterday, but the day before yesterday. If you guys did not check out last night's episode, I had Gabriel from X42 Protocol on. It was a great show. He was a great guest, great conversation. It's in the Cryptocurrency playlist if you guys want to go check that out. Until tonight, so we did that show from 5 to 7 p.m. CDT. For the next, until that time, because Gabe was generous to say that for the next 24 hours, anybody that leaves a comment in the comment section of that video with their X42 address and a suggestion for a decentralized application they'd like to see on the X42 blockchain, you guys will receive an airdrop of 50 X42. So if you guys want to go check that out, you guys go watch that video, leave your comment in the section down below with a suggestion for a decentralized application that you'd like to see on their network, and you will get 50 X42. All right, let's do this schedule. We got XVG coming up. We're going to get to that for you in just a second. We will go ahead here and edit LTC. We will mainly stick with BTC and Ethereum today. Lots of stuff to talk about. MMO Pro, hey, good to see you in the chat, man. Shout out to MMO Pro. What's going on, my good friend? Texas Blues, good to see you, man. BNB continuing to come down, in my opinion. Break the Matrix. I've only watched 2 episodes of Mitch Ray, and I've seen Crown probably 3 to 5 times. I'm actually pretty supportive of Crown's TA. He seems like he knows what he's doing. Not so much with Mitch Ray. Again, he seems like a nice bloke, but just our TA doesn't seem to mesh. And again, I've only watched 2 episodes of his stream. But unfortunately, sir, I do have to suffer from the plague of being my own trader and my own person. So everything that you're going to see on here is going to be pretty genuine. Let's see here. Mr. Ether says, smart, you use RSI correctly. Nice to see. I don't use RSI, but that's just my Andrew Muntz coming in here with talking about sales. Oh, man, some people are bored and have too much time on their hands. But that's what you get with crypto trading. Anyways, getting right into this. All right. So let me pull up my notes, what I wanted to talk about this morning. Cape Town Brown, good evening from South Africa. Good evening from the Midwest. So anyways, if we broadly talk about, there it is, broadly talking, there was the first shot right there. All right. Let's go to the 15-minute chart here on XBT. So basically slow walking our way down from our peak of 53.35 last night, slow walking our way down about 4% over the midnight hours while I was asleep, pulling back down to test support at 51.45, currently holding that. We did bounce back all the way up to retest the 15-minute key June. I was actually talking about that level in the members lounge, looking at that area quite significantly. If the 15-minute had closed above, would be looking for a long. Rejection from that area, be looking for a short. Obviously, we can see that the 15 did not close above the 15-minute key June. Therefore, the direction to take was to the downside. The area to be looking to pull out or be hesitant was when price reversed back here to test the lower boundary of the Kumo cloud, as well as the Tenkan-san. Neither of those areas reversed price yet, and we actually do see the further breakdown of price closing below the 15-minute Tenkan and looking to close below the 15-minute Kumo cloud right now, which would be a confirmed sell signal using Kumo breakdown strategy. Again, we've talked about this before. Whenever you get a Kumo cloud breakout or a Kumo cloud breakdown, it's often far more prevalent or far more useful for you to wait for a retracement. This is going to be true of this is going to be true with pretty much most of your overlay indicators, so moving averages, which I do utilize from time to time, Ichimoku, which I use daily. Whenever you're going to get something like a bullish TK cross or a bearish TK cross, generally I'm always waiting for price to retreat back to an area of resistance. So let's look at this area right here. So for example, price closing down below the Kumo cloud, I would be ideally looking for a retracement back to the 15-minute Tenkan and the 15-minute Kijun. To enter into that short position, because often, keep in mind, that there's sharks in the water. So whenever you have an indicator, and even though I think that Ichimoku is underutilized, I think that's one of my children's toys. That's her little baby bee. Is it going to keep going? Is it going to keep going? I think it's got to run out of steam at some point. Waiting. Waiting. That thing's got a lot of energy. Okay, well, that was interesting. Oh, geez. Good times. All right, let's see here. Jasper says broadly. All right, he's two bottles in, guys. However, the other way to, so I was talking about waiting for pullbacks or retracements to be entering into positions. So the other, okay, I gotta mute that. That's too much. All right. There we go. Okay. So we can see here that actually Bitcoin's price did something on the 15-minute chart that we hadn't seen previously. So price has been trading fairly strongly above the 15-minute Kumo cloud since the 6th of April, around I want to say around 9 or 10 p.m., 21:45 military time. So anyways, price had, obviously, once we broke above the Kumo cloud, entering at that point was not your best option. Waiting for the pullback to the Tenkan, as you can see here, was the better option. Price continued to trend. You had that bullish TK cross confirmed right here. And again, even buying on the bullish TK cross would have been better had you not, let's see, when did that bullish TK cross confirm? It confirmed on this candle. Now, we can see in hindsight that would not have been a bad entry, but you would have been much better served because you did suffer drawdown right here of about 1.5%. And scalping on these lower time frames, trading Bitcoin on these lower time frames, looking for your entries on these lower time frames, you could have gotten into some significant trouble there. You might have potentially even been stopped out, especially if, for example, your stop loss was okay. And again, this is your traditional strategy for trading Ichimoku. And this is why I spend so much time and effort and energy trying to explain that the way that you're going to be taught, if you go over to Investopedia or if you just Google search Ichimoku, the way that you're going to be taught, or if you just YouTube search it, there's lots and lots and lots of Ichimoku trading videos. The strategy that you're going to be shown on buying Kumo Cloud breakouts does not work very well in cryptocurrency, especially on Bitcoin and Ethereum. It does not work very well and will get you in trouble. There are going to be opportunities utilizing the method that I use to trade Ichimoku where you are going to miss a movement. But the point is so let me make a deeper point with this. The best thing that you can do as a beginning trader and looking to actually improve your equity curve is to take losses off of your trading journal. Everybody wants to add winners. Everybody's really obsessed with catching gains, right? And that's all well and good. That's the purpose of a good strategy. Over time is that you will be entering into good positions and you will be executing profitable trades. But the problem is with any strategy, with any if this then that strategy, depending on how sensitive the system that you devise is, and it has to be somewhat sensitive, because if your if this then that strategy almost never gives you signals, you're probably not going to be able to be in position that much. And you have to be in position. You have to incur risk to be able to incur profit. You have to actually be in a trade. So if your strategy is too conservative, then you're not going to be entering positions enough to be able to really make trading profitable. Now, again, that is divorced and distant from really individuals that are managing larger accounts and are looking to hedge long and short with multiple accounts. If you're using BitMEX, if you're trading on CME, that's a different tier and level of trading. And most traders are going to, kind of, I think the garbage that most people hear is that you want to learn to trade like a market maker. You want to learn to trade like the institutions. That's all well and good, but you can't. You just can't. You don't have their tools. You're not going to enter when they enter. You're not going to exit when they enter. And so a lot of this idea of trying to trade like something that you can't trade as, I think that it can be poor advice for a lot of beginning traders because their bottom line at the end of the year, I don't think is going to be what they want to see. It is my personal experience and my belief, and that's why I advocate for this so strongly, that you need to build an if this, then that strategy, all right? Take the subjectivity, sorry, I got to respond to this text message. Take the subjectivity out of your trading and create an objective method, not only of stop and target, but also of entry and exit. And you're never going to have to sit there and ask yourself, did I use this right drawing tool at the right time? Did I anchor this Fibonacci right? Did this moving average crossover? Was that the right time to enter? Blah, 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 blah. You just need to think it out all in advance and devise your own if this, then that strategy. So anyways, here on Bitcoin's price here on the 15-minute Ichimoku, we can actually see price breaking down below the cloud for the first time since, I would say, over here. And again, were you looking for the shorts? So as you can see here, price breaks above the cloud over here. You wait for a pullback to the Tenkan and the Kijun. So this zone right here is a beautiful place for a pullback and was a great entry for a short and almost completely eliminated your drawdown. So just keep that in mind as we're moving forward. That one of the things you're going to hear me focus on a lot is ways that you cannot get into a trade, right? Because there's lots of times when your strategy is going to give you a trade, right? Your strategy is going to give you a trade. But the reason you need things like the reason that I will utilize Wada Atar in conjunction with time transformation, the reason that I will utilize time transformation in conjunction with Ichimoku is so that I can have a filter so that when Ichimoku gives me a signal, because Ichimoku will frequently give you signals, even with conservative settings like I have, it will frequently give you signals, but you need to have a way to filter out which signals are not in your best interest, because not every signal is, right? So again, you need to balance that in your mind. You need to take every signal that your strategy gives you, but you need to add qualifiers to your entry signal that will allow you to filter out unprofitable trades on average, right? Because if you can take right now as a trader, if you are trying to be a frequent day trader or a frequent trader, right, regardless of what time frame you're trading on, but this is going to be more applicable to you, to those of you watching that are attempting to scalp or trade the lower time frames, which I think is like what people's idea of trading is, like constantly being in the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 15-minute chart. And when something's very volatile, you can do that. And that's why we've been focusing on the lower time frames, but also why I've been trying to explain to you how, at least in my eyes, showing you how I trade this particular market. Anyways, so again, filtering out those losses is going to be better for your bottom line than adding winners probably at this point in your development. Again, we're trying to build this strategy together. That's something that we're focusing on in the premium group, is helping people. That's going to be the topic that we're going in depth with that for the next webinar course, the next webinar series. We're going to go over every element that I think you need in your trading strategy, how to balance indicators out, the best indicators to utilize to balance them out and filter out those losses. But I digress. So anyways, price breaking below the 15-minute Kumo cloud right here. As you can see, this happened overnight around, well, not overnight, but about 6 o'clock in the morning, so just upon waking. This was a bounce off the support line and actually the same level where we bounced from last night. This is where we were last night during last night's stream. I had drawn that box. We bounced perfectly off of it and went for a nice ascension to the upside. And price has just walked itself back down from there, continuing to form lower highs. So what do we get here? We get that breakdown of the Kumo cloud. Was that the time to enter into a momentum short? No. You will hear me, and those of you who are members of the group, do know that I will occasionally post things that say like, hey, just momentum shorted, just momentum longed, blah, 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 blah. Rarely though, more often than not, and you guys know this, you will see me be a little bit more methodical with my positions. But there are indications and times when everything that I use as a trading system is confluent and gives me confirmation that entering into momentum long, even if I'm buying potentially at a local top, you just go. You take the signal that your strategy gives you and you don't ask questions because you spent time and energy, you put time and grind into developing that entry and exit system. Anyways, so as we can see here, was the time to short Bitcoin the breakdown of the cloud? Absolutely not. We can see that. And again, if this thing would have dumped, would you have missed the movement? Sure. But what would you have done? Let's take the average of trades over a long period of time. The average of trades over a long period of time is that you're going to filter out those losses, and the positions that you do put on, that you do execute successfully, are going to be on average more successful. And that's what you're looking for. That's what you're shooting for as a trader. You need to build a baseline, right? I work with a lot of individual traders, man. I've worked with a lot of people over the years that come in and they want to show a few killer trades, right? And they're like, hey, man, I got this. I figured it out. Look at that. I nailed it on this one, right? Okay, show me your account statement for the last year. And you can just see that on average, they're bleeding themselves out. Okay, because sure, they catch some good movements, but at that point, they're just playing catch up because the majority of their trades, they're stopping out, they're selling too early, they're buying too late, whatever. It's just one of the most common plagues of beginner traders. So having that if this then that strategy that you've back tested and that you've forward tested and you've demo tested is a better way to verify that you have a good baseline. That way you can just say, hey, here's my strategy and here's my account statement for the last year with this strategy. Look, I made 20% this year. If you're doing that, you are on the path to be able to do this for a lifetime. Anybody that is getting rich really quickly is most likely, just being realistic, guys, the failure rate is extremely high. Even in cryptocurrency, it's extremely high. The majority of individuals that are in this space bought at the end of 2017 and basically lost it all, right, when the market dumped, right? So I don't really have patience or time. I don't really care about these. Look, man, I completely crushed it on this trade right here. Look at this massive ROE. Who cares, right? Like that does not a good trader make you, right? Like anybody that 100x long the breakout at 4,200 and now they're up like, $10,000. That's great. You're most likely going to give it back to the market over the next 4 months. I mean, I'm just being realistic, guys. Like that's the cold hard reality of trading that you're not going to hear on most other channels. But I've just been doing this long enough, and then I don't really have time for nonsense, man. So, all right. So anyways, price broke below the 15-minute Kumo cloud. Price retraced. And here, scaling into a short position between the Tenkan and the Kijun here, or waiting for the rejection from the Tenkan or the top of the Kumo cloud, which would have been your last barrier of support. Again, you can always kind of watch this closely, okay? Like, for example, here you have a potential rejection from the 15-minute Tenkan. Potentially, you can take that trade. Time transformation is still curling up. You haven't gotten that crossover yet. You can look at Wada Atar. You can look at what Wada Atar is doing at that point in time. So where's that rejection? That rejection is actually right here. Okay, excuse me. Looking for that rejection from the Tenkan. And Wada Atar would have confirmed that, right? So that would have been a good entry. It would have been a good stab, right? You would have had a little bit of drawdown. You would have had about 0.8% of drawdown, but a much better entry than entering here, right? Where you would have suffered almost 1.82% of drawdown, right? Like we really need to, the numbers matter. The numbers really matter because the difference between 1% drawdown and 1.8% drawdown or 2% drawdown is typically the difference between somebody emotionally stop lossing a trade or manually closing a trade. And then sitting there and waiting and like, oh, I missed a good entry, blah, 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 blah. So anyways. Okay, so what are we looking at right now? I'm biased toward the short side here on Bitcoin right now. Definitely biased toward the short side, not only because of that example that I just played out, the breakdown of the Kumo cloud, the rejection from the top of the Kumo cloud. Now we do have to wait for price to break back above the Kumo cloud convincingly and do a BPC, a break pullback continuation trade before I can be confident in taking this thing to the upside and looking for another leg up. Until then, again, just playing the range, and right now the range looks bearish. Let's go over, sorry. Didn't mean to do that. Let's go over here to the 1 hour and see where we're at in relation to everything else. As we can see here, toward the beginning of the day, so right around that same time, around 5, around 6, things did look potentially bullish. We had that pullback down to the Tenkan. Price actually closed below that, found support on our horizontal level of support at 51.45, as well as finding support on the Kijun. You can call that a test of the Kijun. Pulled back, closed below. Price is now consolidating around the hourly Kijun. So on a higher time frame, getting down below the Kijun as well, you start to get a little concerned. You do still have that hourly cloud below you. So again, I'm not long-term bearish on Bitcoin right now. I am on the alert for the movement down. And in the short term, I do think the trade to the downside is more profitable, at least intraday for right now. But we still have a lot of support below us, guys. Let's just be real. We have a lot of support below us, and it's going to take some significant breaks of that support until we're really bearish. We've talked about these critical levels before, 49.69 and then 46.69, 46.70 are the areas that we are looking for on pullbacks. Still looking to buy any pullbacks to those areas for a positional trade to the upside right now. Now again, I just want to make sure that I'm clear with that, because I hope people understand when I say stuff like that, right? So for example, the pullback to 51.45, like that was a good trade, right? But whether or not that turns into a long-term trade or a scalp, you don't know ahead of time. All I know is that those are good areas to be doing buying. But again, you need to monitor your trade, right? Because let's say that price goes bearish, right? And that you could enter into a positional short from this area. Let's say you miss that movement. Okay, you have areas on the chart where you can counter trade for a good 2 to 5%. Right? Those areas are going to be 51.45, 49.69, 6.70. The buy areas. Anyways, so that's Bitcoin. Let's continue to go up the time frames. Let's continue to go up the time frames. Look at what the 3 hour is doing. The 3 hour, I've drawn this ascending trend line right here. Now, again, you guys know how I feel about chart patterns. I saw a bunch of stuff this morning, dude. Like, people sent me a bunch of charts, and shout out to you guys. I love you guys all, but you know, you guys know that I'm pretty blatant honest with my opinions here. Okay, so this is what I heard: ascending bevel. I don't know what paid group you guys got that out of, but or what Peter Brandt chart you got that from. You know, typically, yes, ascending wedges or ascending channels do break support typically. Especially with this type of volume pattern. We can see Wadatar, we can see the volume pattern right here, characteristic of consolidation as price is lazily listing to the upside, typically does break bearish, right? That's why I've been talking about this level on the chart for quite a while. We've got the lower boundary of the Kumo cloud. The upper boundary of the Kumo cloud here on the 3 hour chart is fairly congruent with, I would say, I mean, it's actually, I'll be honest, it's a deviation, man, but you've got 48.73 here. In the future, it's actually 49.25, and you got 49.70 is that first area of support that I'm interested in, or a buy area, again, that 49.69. This cyan blue box territory probably needs to be updated now as we go up the timeframes here. We will move that up a little bit. But also we can see that we had the bullish TK cross confirmed after the pump. We have not had that bearish TK cross yet on the 3 hour chart. And we are also holding that ascending trend line. So those are areas to watch if you're looking for that momentum breakdown. Again, we talked about waiting for that BPC though, generally on a lower time frame to confirm that trade. But you do have that 3 hour Tenkan coming in pretty much directly below price. That's congruent with the hourly Kijun that we did pull back down to, barely tested as support, but that ascending trend line is something to put on your chart and to be watching as well. I do believe it's valid. Here's the 8 hour chart. You can actually see where that level is coming in. I will actually not be updating my blue box my larger cyan buy-in territory, because that is still congruent with the 8 hour Kijun. The 8 hour Kijun is still flat. The Donchian hasn't really updated significantly yet. We do have our 8 hour Tenkan-san coming in around 50.13. Good news, everybody. That was the, sorry about that. That was the, you guys know that I've been having issues with my upstream. And that was actually the Mediacom field management supervisor. So thanks to everybody who kind of, dropped some lines and comments and kind of got, helped us out, get the social media ball rolling here. But they have been on it. So we've actually got a lot of stuff upgraded already, and it seems like they're going to do some more stuff. So they're going to send out their field management team. They wanted to come out now, but I was like, well, I'm kind of doing something right now. They're like, well, what time's your show? Over 2? I'm like, well, okay, we'll come back after 2. Shut it down, Scott. So yeah, anyways, we got the field management team coming out a little bit after 2. They're going to hook up some modems side by side, try to get everything still squared away. Things look better. Because we did upgrade to 50 meg up and a gig down. And we're actually, tomorrow it should come in the mail. We got a new modem coming in the mail tomorrow. So right now everything looks good. The upstream is good. So hopefully, and again, they did kind of get serious about it. Hopefully they have fixed their issue. We are going to install fiber as a backup secondary and build a dual WAN router so that we can actually run 2 streams. So we shouldn't have any issues moving forward, because if the fiber goes down, then then we can use the cable as a backup. And if the cable goes down, obviously we're going to default to it. Scott. Anyway, so overall things looking good, but definitely want to be on the lookout. I think, again, I'm leaning bearish toward the day, and I don't think that price breaks down now, but it's something that I'm on the lookout for. I do think that overall we're getting to that area where the more profitable trade is to the downside. So just hopefully we're clear on that. I'm short-term bearish, so I'm intraday bearish. That's the correct term to use. I'm midterm neutral, starting to lean more bearish though, as we'll get into as we go over the data metrics. So I do think that we're entering into an area where the more profitable position is to the downside. Again, looking for that retest of 4,700, 4,800. But I'd be cautious about entering into your position now, okay? I would be cautious about entering into a long-term positional short now. That could change. We'll see how price evolves over the course of the day. And actually, again, something that we are going to be keeping our eye on is that daily sell signal. Again, we haven't gotten one of those on Bitcoin for a long time for time transformation. So I do want to give that a whole lot of weight. If the daily closes that way, I'm probably going to have to go against my hesitation and be positionally short. But again, we've got some time for that to occur. We're also getting an 8-hour sell signal as well. These haven't been well, they've been okay. We got a decent trade here, but overall, just the more profitable position was to continue in the up trade though. So a little hesitant on that. A little hesitant on the 8-hour BitMEX sell signal. Especially, that's all right. But again, Wadatar is not really confirming, and I'd really like to see us break support. All right. That's about it for Bitcoin. Again, bearish intraday, neutral midterm. Let's go look at some data metrics. We'll look at Ethereum, and then we'll get into Verge at the top of the hour, man. Talked about this morning, of course. Looking at the bid-ask sum, it is starting to gravitate toward bearish. So again, as I talked about earlier, I'm intraday bearish just based off technical analysis. But looking at some of our data metrics and fundamentals, I'm actually starting to lean bearish as well on the meso time frame. So if we look at the MDR within 2.5% of price, we do see that it is negative. We saw a big increase. This is something that I do want to point out because it's not always like immediately what's going on right now. You want to look at the patterns of the MDR. And as you can see here, back toward the evening hours of the 6th and pretty much throughout the 7th and dropping off today, you had a big increase in limit sell orders. Okay, you had a big increase in limit sell orders, which means that a lot of people were looking to exit their position spot. Okay. Because again, this is tracking all spot exchanges. There are a few leveraged exchanges on there like OKEx, but I digress. So what we see here is that pretty much from the evening of the 6th to basically this morning, you had a lot of passive selling. You had a lot of individuals that were looking to exit their position, meaning that a lot of position buyers became active sellers, right? They weren't potential sellers, they were position sellers now at this point. You have a lot of position sellers in the market. I think that we're also seeing that trend on the leveraged exchanges as well. Within 5% of price, it gets a little bit more dicey. You do have more, and overall, the MDR is bearish as well. There are more limit sell orders on the books than there are limit buy orders. Looking at the MDR, we can see that the MDR remains negative within 5% of price. It has been negative pretty much since the 5th, meaning there are more limit sell orders on the books than buy orders. Now, that is irrespective of the uptick in price. As we can see, the price has significantly upticked, obviously, since the 4th. Well, I mean, more significantly since the 2nd. But you can see that a lot of individuals, you can see that overall on the MDR is indicating that even though there is a lot of action and activity to buy or aggressive market buying, there is significant more passive limit selling than there is limit buying. All right, let's go take a look at, so I looked at that. I wanted to look at the bid-ask sum as well, which I think is better because I do like to look at the Coinbase Pro exchange to get a little bit more indications on how I am going to trade myself. Looking at the bid-ask sum within 5% of price, there's really not a whole lot of information to be gleaned from this. As we can see, we did see that little brief pattern there of a lot of limit sells coming on the books, pretty much from that same time period that I just talked about on VCDepth.io, looking at the market depth ratio. But I do see that indicated here. But here you can see that if you look at it in the overall, bid-ask sum cycle, it's really not indicative of anything. This is really just indicative of indecision and consolidation in the market, which is broadly speaking what we're seeing right now. There's another drink for you guys. I'll have a sip of water with you. Anyways. Okay, so the other thing that I did want to look at was tensor charts. So we're going to pull up XBT USD, and we're going to take a look at open interest. So one of the things that I had pointed out this morning, and actually let's look at the 5-minute chart. So here we had that nice run up. Last night we had open interest rising as Bitcoin was making its kind of ascension to that 53.38 level that I talked about earlier. And then if we really look at what open interest is doing as price was moving down, open interest was rising. In my eyes, I view this as rising, although it's just pretty much sideways, but that's definitely not moving down more than it's moving up, as we can see. Open interest, as Bitcoin was slow walking its way down to support, open interest was rising. And pretty much, this was interesting because I actually interpreted this. This is a little bit different now since we've had this a little bit of price activity. But on the 5-minute chart for XBT, open interest was also rising as price was moving up. And we also see it rising when price is moving down. So again, all right, so I know that was a little confusing. So I do need to, because this is looking a little different than when I looked at it and did my analysis this morning. The reason why is because if open interest is falling as price is moving down, it's showing that the trend to the downside is strong because a lot of traders are exiting positions. That's bearish. A lot of positions moving down. A lot of longs are getting stopped out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When open interest is rising, when price is rising, then the trend to the upside is strong. So let's actually be a little bit more legitimate about this. I had said that as open interest was rising, which we can clearly see a rise in open interest as price was rising to 50.38. But let's be a little bit more nuanced now. So price was slow walking its way back down to that 51.45 level of support, and open interest wasn't honestly really doing much. We can see that it is pretty much flat and sideways. We do see a little bit of a rise in open interest here, which is good. A lot of people putting on short positions, but again, they get a lot of longs didn't get stopped out though on that trade to the downside. Some did, but it wasn't a significant stop loss in my opinion. And then as price is rising, open interest really isn't doing a whole lot. So, honestly, not a whole lot that I can glean out of this, to be quite honest with you. This was a little bit more indicative when I looked at it this morning, but now that this is kind of even things out right here with this rise in open interest as price is moving down, I don't know. I can't make any verifiable trade out of this. This doesn't really contribute to my bias one way or the other. Maybe somebody a little bit more skilled at looking at this might be able to determine or wheedle out something a little bit better. But to me, this confirms to me consolidation. Yeah. Okay. Now, the thing that's been on everybody's mind, let's go look at those longs to shorts. So I want to point this out, and we're going to go a little bit more nuanced into this. So here's the longs to shorts ratios on Finex, right? And at 2 o'clock in the morning, it jumped up about 27.21%. Now, I want to look at the longs So no, that's not what I want. Okay, so here's the longs. Excuse me, where's that 2 o'clock mark? Okay, so not quite right. We do see a massive increase in the longs, starting from about 18, so about a 7.54% increase in longs, pretty much overnight. Now let's go look at the shorts, which I think, yeah, this is the real indication for everybody. Shorts just dropping off about 21.36%. That's pretty significant. So when we see that, it is good to break down and look at the nuance. So I typically just look at the longs to shorts ratios. However, looking at just at the longs to shorts ratios might have you believe that a lot of longs were put on because the longs to shorts ratio rose. But actually, if we break down and look at the nuances, we can see that the longs to shorts ratio rose, but that wasn't because of longs being put on per se, although there were longs being put on. But if you compare that with the amount of shorts being exited, it wasn't the longs being put on, it was the shorts getting out of the market. So what does this mean? All right. Well, let's look at price. Let's take a longer term. Let's actually pull up in the hourly chart and we'll just look at price action here and we'll try to noodle through this together, okay? Because it could mean several things. There's no clear answer, and anybody that thinks there is, you're wrong. So price is at the top, near the top of an uptrend. We look at price action, volume is falling while price is putting on pretty much a lazy movement to the upside. But again, definitely riding the bull. I have not exited my spot Bitcoin position. Very, very glad to have my bags continue to be pumped. Cheers to you guys. Not just to you guys, but to anybody that's buying Bitcoin. Because again, there's nothing that makes me happier in the world than people buying Bitcoin. And a lot of shorts just exited the market. So again, the rumor and speculation that I did here was just one large position exiting his, that doesn't make sense. OTC doesn't make sense. So a short exiting his position OTC, that's not quite right because he would have had to exit his position on Finex to affect the Finex book. So regardless of what he did OTC, like if he exited his short and then sold his funds OTC, we didn't see a significant dip in the market, but if the market is responding to it. But anyways, just to make sure that people understand that nuance, if something's done OTC, it won't affect exchange price, right? And not in a direct way, right? You won't see that, that massive drop. So obviously somebody did have a significant, if that is true, somebody did have a significant short position in XBT, or in BTC, actually, USD on Finex, and exited that position. So buying back into the market, right? Because whenever a short exits the market, they have to market buy or have a limit buy order filled. Okay, they can't, that's how it works. And that occurred again. So that occurred at 2 o'clock in the morning, my time. So let's go over here and look and see what happened at 2 o'clock in the morning, my time. What did price do? Price did not respond to it with aggressive movement to the upside. Price actually continued to move down. Let's actually look and see, did we have a bullish reaction on Finex? No, we did not. Mirroring the price action of XBT USD exactly. As a large short was exiting, so if this is true, price continued to move down. Doesn't seem... how do I kind of get what's in my head out? Typically you would expect that if this was a large short, just a huge position, exiting their position, that you would see a bullish reaction from price. But you didn't see that. So that, just to put that kind of, not coffin in the, nail in the coffin, excuse me, but just to point out that some of that price action, stuff, or, the way that I think that a lot of people are spinning sentiment analysis now, it doesn't always work that way. Like the longs to shorts are traditionally used as an indicator of whether the market is bearish or bullish. If a lot of people are long on Bitcoin, it's bullish. If a lot of people are short on Bitcoin, it's bearish. Now you can use, way too much longs, but again, you're entering into the realm of subjectivity. Now, you do know that we have talked about the longs to shorts ratios and used it in that fashion because you can get some great killer trades out of it. And it is a good leading indicator. Just make sure that it's something that you study, that you understand, and that you have a strategy to use it and that you're not utilizing it like somebody else may use it. until you actually understand how and why that other person uses it the way that they do. So, I can't make my trading decisions based off speculation. I can't assume, and it really doesn't matter, whether this was one large trader or overall market sentiment. Either way, the market should respond to it either way. So basically, a huge drop off in shorts you would expect after a volatile movement like that for the market to reach equilibrium and for shorts to refill the gap. What did you see? You saw price move down, and now price is listing lazily to the upside as you see shorts begin to begin to re-add back to the market. Just over the last, just ever since that happened, shorts are up 2%. Now longs in that same period of time, I think, are not up significantly more. Since 2 a.m., longs are up about the same amount. Actually not up. So longs did go up about 1.5%. Now they're back exactly where they started. So a lot of shorts dropped off. You did not see a dramatic increase in longs, okay? What does this mean? Overall, my interpretation of this is bearish. I think that a lot of shorts are dropping off. Whether it was a large position or not, I think that it was probably the worst time to exit a long-term position like that. Now, if that was a long-term losing position, again, that just goes to show you that even if you have a lot of money, does not make you a good trader, right? So let's say that that was a long-term short position that had been held since down here, not a good trade. Let's say that was a long-term short position that was held since 6,000. I mean, obviously we can see in retrospect, not really that great of a trade, indicative of fear. And I do think, again, I feel very strongly that this is not the beginning of the bull market directly. I think that we are moving towards that area, but I think we definitely need more accumulation. I do think, again, broadly speaking, that this area does represent a bull trap. I think that we have not seen the end of the $3,000 to $4,000 range. I think that we will revisit that area and trade back inside that area. And again, something that I'm willing to be wrong on, but I do have to hedge my position that way and look for those longer term movements to the downside. Am I overly eager to jump into a positional short right now at this point in time? No. Do I think intraday the movement is to the downside? Yes. Am I beginning to lean bearish in the meso timeframes? Yes. But that's not a, hey, all in short, man. All in short. It's not really what I'm feeling for the day. I think the trade is to the downside for the day. That's what I'll be looking for on the intraday timeframes. And now that we have this daily sell signal and time transformation, I will be watching that pretty closely. So again, if the daily sells, if the daily closes on a daily sell signal, I will be in a short position, assuming everything else confirms. What I'd really like to see on the daily time frame to confirm that sell signal is I would like to see Wada Atar below the explosion line. So that's basically congruent with like the MACD histogram switching from opaque to translucent, or from filled to not filled. It's an early warning sign of a drop off in momentum and an early, a reversal indicator, if you will. But yeah, I do have to take that signal. That's a strong signal. Again, haven't gotten that sell signal for a while. I'll allow myself to be a little bit more nuanced, but that's basically what I'll be looking for. All right. What will be the confirmation that we are back in the bull market? For me, it will be a retracement back to 3,000. So just as we saw, there's another, and this is something that I put a little bit of grain of salt on, but I think is worth talking about. Let's actually pull up in my long-term chart. Let's actually go to the Bitstamp chart. Let's go to the Bitstamp chart and let's go back and see. So a lot of good indications for it. So I don't know if we want to look at the end of the bear market in 2016, or if we want to look at pretty much the end of the slight bear pull down in 2017. 2017 is not the best indicative example. I would say that 2016 is not the best example either, but okay, so let's just bear with me on this, right? Because this isn't perfect, and this is why I don't like things like fractals, because they're bullshit. But what do we see here? So, toward the end of July, beginning of August, we saw the end of the bear market of 2016. And we saw price put in an insane capitulation candle to the downside, reaching a low of almost, what, 450, 460, 650, somewhere around there? And then immediately rebounded, right? What did price do? Price put in a about a 15%, well, from the bottom, put in about a 30% bear trap, and then dropped back down about another. So this, you have to be. I understand this is not the best example in totality, but I'm trying to show a broad example of what I'm looking for in the market, which is we didn't see capitulation. I don't think we necessarily have to see capitulation like this, although that would be a strong indication that the bull market is here. If we see a daily candle like this at the bottom of Bitcoin, close to 3,000, which again, I don't know what those I've talked about those apocalyptic levels that a wick could reach. I'm kind of out on that camp. I know there's a lot of people that are just drunk on their own technical analysis that say price has to do this. They get really drunk on these long-term things. AF Vision 512, Lowell Everly, and Jonathan Young. Thank you so much for the subscriptions on YouTube, man. Welcome to the family. Crypto Meister, what's going on, man? Illuminati in the house. Fox Trader, good to see you, my good dude. Sorry I missed your comment in the Twitch, man. But anyways, a big movement down was followed by a bull trap, and we saw a pullback on that bull trap. This isn't really the best example. I'm aware of that because there's not that like significant 20% pullback that I'm looking for, or that I'm kind of trying to explicate here. But something like this, definitely something like this. Gotta have a good relationship with your family, guys. All right. See if I can find another better example. I don't think this is a good example right here. This isn't really indicative of what I'm looking for here. Neither is this. Those were all healthy pullbacks in the beginning of an uptrend. So yeah, I don't think that example was really all I wanted it to be. And I'm well aware of that, but that is what I'm looking for. That is what I'm looking for. I think that we're going to trap a lot of buyers here. I think, and again, I want to be very honest about this. I don't think it's a bad time to buy spot BTC. I'm still in my spot BTC position. I'm probably not going to exit my spot BTC position. Depends on how things play out. But anyways, I'm looking for a retracement back down to this trading zone. Whether or not we put a capitulation candle, I don't know. That's all speculation. Anybody who says for sure that we are or not, that stuff doesn't matter, guys. I think this represents a bull trap. I think the movement overall is the trade to the downside. And then I think pretty much after that happens, I'm going to be not looking for shorts anymore. I think once we revisit 3,000 to 4,000, I won't be looking to short trade Bitcoin anymore. I'll probably be fully in my long-term position. I'll be looking for long-term position longs, and that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it. And then I just go to aggressively trading altcoins, which is basically what we did through 2016, 2017. All right, it is 1:02 p.m., guys. So that means it's coffee time, guys. Or refresh your champagne if you're toasting in the potential beginning of the bull market. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes, guys. We're gonna look at Verge. We're gonna look at requests. So if you guys have requests, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll also do some chat engagement. So I'll get to your guys' comments. I know you guys have been sitting there patiently waiting as I rant on and on and on about Bitcoin and my positions. While you guys are waiting, guys, I would appreciate it if you want to go over to topg.crackingcryptocurrency.com. It doesn't cost you anything. Give us a little bit of an upvote there. We went from 300 in the rankings to 15. So much appreciated there, guys. If you do, 13. Whoa, hey, getting up there, guys. Battling for supremacy just pushes us up the Discord server list. Again, that's topg.crackingcryptocurrency.com if you want to help us out. Otherwise, go ahead and grab a coffee, man. Do some stretches, do some push-ups. I did a great workout this morning, by the way, guys. The weather is nice outside. Spring is here. I hung the heavy bag. I put the, I got the free weights out. Woke up this morning, did a nice 20-minute session on the heavy bag. Did some clean and presses. Woo! I feel good, man. Got to get my speed rope back out, and do my jump rope and punching bag thing. That's my thing. I've always liked CrossFit more than I used to bodybuild, but that was a long time. Not a long time ago. I probably stopped doing that about 2 years ago. So I lost some muscle bulk, but again, I just feel much better, dude. Working on CrossFit, pull-ups, push-ups, runs, sprints. Anyways, I will be just back in just a couple minutes, guys. Don't go anywhere. What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for staying with me and sticking in there. Let's go back to XBT USD, and let's watch the lower time frames and see what's happening. As we engage with the chat a little bit, guys. Chili 3000, thank you so much for the subscription on YouTube. Welcome to the community, my good friend. Cryptomeister says, this meeting I am stuck in is killing me. You're in a meeting and watching Cracking Cryptocurrency, man. Much appreciated. All right. Go up here just a little bit. Jonathan Berliner, thank you so much, man. Welcome to the show. Did I say Verge? Zuhair, what are the chances of us breaking the 3-day Kumo cloud? Well, that would be a good sign, man. Looking for that BPC though, as always. But again, closing inside the cloud. I'm pretty fond of those edge-to-edge trades, man. I'm pretty fond of those edge-to-edge trades. But again, I have to be cautious because I've talked about the areas where I want to be out of my position and looking for exiting longs. But that edge-to-edge trade would put us in the territory of 6,600 to 7,419. I think that would be congruent as well with us opening and closing above that 6,150. I would be pretty darn bullish then. And is that an area where, again, I do still have fiat to put into Bitcoin for long-term holdings? That would be when I would do that. Would I feel like, oh my God, I missed the bottom? No, because I didn't miss the bottom. You know, I moved a good majority of BTC. I moved a good majority of pretty much everything that I had held on the sidelines or that was in USDT into BTC before the movement to the upside, because I wanted to hedge against my short, as I talked about with everybody in the group. USDT dominance continues to drop. There's no reason to be in Tether right now. Seems like I missed some stuff. Logan Schmick says 5,500 and then a retrace. Well, from now, potentially. It is voice activated. Bitcoin millionaire with the ghost. What's going on? It's toying with your emotions. Cracked. Andrew Munn says, man, kids have badass toys these days. I had Lincoln Logs and Legos. I loved Lincoln Logs when I was a kid, dude. I was a Lincoln Log beast. All right, watching the 15-minute chart here pretty closely, guys. Again, looking for that BPC above the Kumo cloud, and the sentiment does flip bullish short-term intraday. Etch-a-Sketch, Light Bright, and Pong. Andrew Munns, you're an interesting character, man. Pablo says, hello, can you please add on your request list ZERP USD? Looks like it has very strong resistance around 37 cents. Many thanks. Yeah, sure, man. Did a $20 per pip trade today, largest I've ever done. That's a pretty big. That's a lot of. I mean, relative to your account size, but that's a lot of. That's a pretty big pip per or dollar per pip risk management strategy there. Be careful, mate. Mr. Ether says you need to trade like a crypto cracker, and where can I buy this trading journal I hear of? That's Scott's baby, man. That's Scott's baby. It's available in the group. Frank Wolftown says, I have to go back and listen to all your live streams. Hey, you're aware, man. Batam, yes, this is a no-nonsense zone. Valentine says, I'm only in this space for a year, and I always wait with interest with your videos because I learn a lot from them. Thanks for your time and your market analysis shared with us. You deserve more subs. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. For a newbie, can you tell me if I could call a short trade good if I made $50, $70 with $1,000, put in a short trade? Oh, of course your English can be read. So let's see. So you're talking about with $1,000, you're talking about a 5 and 7% return. Pretty good, man. Pretty good, bud. Cruz CIT, good to see you, man. Bitcoin in its third rejection from 53.50. While the $6,000 is still very possible, I give an 80% chance for a down movement during this week to the $4,200 area. I think that we are in pretty much agreement with what we expect to see. K7 Jixer, when everyone around is a bear, become a bull. That was a good strategy here. But K7, I've learned a long time ago. Sometimes I shouldn't trade against you, man. Ever since you've been on here, you've been pretty spot on. Shout out to you, my good dude. Crypto Caveman says, how do I make a profitable strategy based on my teachings? Well, I mean, that's a broad question. Again, it's something that I focus on a lot in the streams. It's something that I focus on in the group. You've got to develop a suite of indicators, in my opinion, is your best trade. Or if you want to go down the altar of worshiping at price, or if you want to go down the path of worshiping at the altar of price action, that's okay. In my experience, is not the best method and strategy for beginning traders. It often gets them in more trouble than it does good. I think that price action is something that you want to get into later after you have a strong if this then that strategy. But it's get an entry indicator, get an exit indicator, get a volume, get something that measures volume and volatility, and then have a good stop and target system is going to be a good start for you, man. And then divine a strategy, divine a set of rules, write them down on a piece of paper in front of you, and backtest that strategy. Is it profitable over a year? Is it profitable over 5 years? Is it profitable over whatever? Test it on crypto, test it on Forex, test it on equity, and then you're probably going to have a pretty good strategy that you can move forward with. And again, there's always going to be paper trade it, demo test it. You're going to have a good basket of results as long as you just stick to your strategy. That's the first step, man. All right, let's get down to the bottom, man. Where am I reading the chat from? From my YouTube pop out, man. Quinn Bear. Oh, so a couple. Okay, so FET. I can't do FET because we took a FET trade this morning. So I can't look at the chart. You guys know kind of how I do things, kind of what my rules are. I try to respect the privacy and not the privacy and the anonymity, but I try to respect what the premium members do pay for. So we took a FET trade. I can tell you we did take a FET trade to the upside. We've already taken profit on a portion of it. 5% profit happened really quick. Pretty much as soon as we entered the trade, it popped off. So we will be able to look at it and maybe look at Nano by chance. I like the coin and what it is fundamentally, but the chart looks kind of sour. I don't have any strong opinions on Nano, but yeah, we'll take a look at it, man. Nano BTC. Okay, let's get into this, man. Eli, I got you, bro. Start off with Verge. I would like to look at Verge USDT, but we'll look at Verge Bitcoin. Because I assume that's what you want. We'll start on the weekly here. Okay, so here's my Verge chart that I have so far. You can see the lines that I have drawn. Obviously, we have support coming in around 153 sats. We were unable to break that support, consolidated underneath it on the weekly basis for a while as price was being repressed by the Tenkan-san. And for the first time, we're actually seeing the weekly close or looking to close above the Tenkan-san. Now, the weekly did just open. We've got a lot of time to go. We've got a full week before the weekly does close. But this does look like it could be pretty good. We've got resistance coming in at 233, price currently trading at 202 sats. So that would posit a potential almost a 15% trade on the table if we're looking for an upsurge and rejection. Now, potentially we've already seen that. and could be on the decline. We'll break that down as we look toward the lower time frames. Looking at the weekly is trending above the zero line, or excuse me, looking at time transformation, we are trending above the zero line, indicating a trending trade is on the table, as well as WADA Atar trading above the explosion level. That actually would have given you an indication to enter 17th of December 2018. So buying then would not have been the best opportunity, although you do see that time transformation was confirming that trending trade as well. You would have actually put yourself in, again, having Ichimoku on there is helpful as well, as you can see that you're basically buying at resistance. We don't like to do that. You would have put yourself in for about 27% drawdown, and just now, pretty much you're at break even now. But anyways, waiting for that nice pullback to that level of support, held pretty nicely. Bitson, thank you so much for the sub on YouTube, my good man. So breaking above the most local level of resistance on the weekly chart. Of course, you know what I'm going to say. I would like to see the weekly close above this level. I'd like to see that BPC will start breaking this down as we go to the lower time frames. We do have a bullish Heikinashi weekly trend as well, going down to the 3-day. Going down to this 3-day, we can see almost beautifully how the Tenkan-san did act as resistance. We are, oh my dear lord, dude, we might be having a 3-day TK cross. That would be a pretty good sign here for Verge, man. XVG has really done nothing for quite a while, man, but a nice potential 3-day bullish TK cross. Will it confirm on this 3-day? So we've got 2 evenings left for that 3-day close. Really wouldn't want to do anything. We are rejecting from the 3-day Kumo cloud here on Verge, but so this is going to be one of those things where altcoins are bullish, man. USDT dominance continues to drop, so it definitely is the continuation of altcoin sneezing, in my personal opinion. I think that if the 3-day close is nice and strong and we can get ourselves, ideally, this is what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the 3-day close above the Tenkan and the Kijun here, above the weekly Tenkan. I'd like to see us trade into the 3-day Kumo cloud and then pull back and retest the Kijun or the Tenkan as a for a BPC, for a break pullback continuation trade. If that happens as well with a 3-day bullish TK cross, that's a good trade, man. I don't know if I want to like go straight to Moontown here because we do have the top of the Kumo cloud coming in at 789. That is a massive trade. I mean, that's a 277% trade possible. That would be extremely a little bit overshooting the bearish potential. If we were entering a trade right now, utilizing the 3-day chart, we're actually looking at targets of 221, 238, and 256. Let's just keep it realistic, all right? So that's still a good trade, man. That's still a good trade. 256. We're still looking at about a 25% trade, and then we can reevaluate, especially if we're staying inside the Kumo cloud and everything does look good. On the 3-day time transformation, we got a little bit of bearish divergence here. Did play out for about a week. And we're getting a potentially, it hasn't confirmed yet because it does have to close, but potentially getting a nice continuation cross above the 0 line. That would be a nice bullish sign to see. Continuation crosses, again, are some of the best trades that I put on with time transformation. Ethereum rejecting again on the lower time frames. That would be the it would be the second rejection from resistance there. We do have a local bottom around $176.50. We did reject from that 179.55 though. We'll see what happens here on the LTFs. Let's go down to the daily here on Verge. The daily closing. Okay, cool. This is good to see. We do have that bullish TK cross back here on the 23rd of March. Still confirmed, have not closed under, did not get the bearish sign. Would buying on the 23rd of March have been a good buy? Yeah, it would have been a good buy actually. You would have had a couple days of drawdown, and then price closing back above. Pretty much just consolidation. But anyways, a pretty good time to buy, man. You'd be up quite a bit right now. The daily looking to close above the daily Kumo cloud. So again, as always, looking for that BPC, that break pullback continuation trade to about 190 or somewhere in that vicinity. Maybe even 195 I'd be comfortable with, because definitely on the movement down now. Let's go down and look at the 15-minute chart and noodle out what we're looking for here more broadly. Okay, so pretty much have a nice pump that started, what, last night? So yeah, last night we had a nice pump. Price moving into consolidation with lower high, higher low, just overall down tilting consolidation pattern right here. If you wanted to be speculative, you could say, oh man, this is a bull flag. It's a bull flag, man. I don't know. Closing above the 15-minute cloud, man. I'd be a little hesitant of this descending trend line, man. But let's go take a look at the XVG order book as well. See what that's showing us. Volume skyrocketing, price going high. MDR currently negative 16.01 within 5% of price, negative within 2.5% of price. Very bearish than 10% of price, and very bearish than 15% of price. Pretty much the MDR is bearish across the board. So if I was just doing chart patterns, man, I'd say, okay, we have not closed below the 15-minute cloud since the pump. We've basically come back down and tested that area as support, trading inside of the cloud, but still pretty much holding that Kijun, holding the cloud, holding the Kijun. Let's see if we can get above the Tenkan and hold the Tenkan. That would be a nice break, pullback continuation trade. If we do end up closing above this, closing above this descending trend line, could be okay intraday. Verge could be okay intraday. Maybe 206, 209, 213. Shoot for 209 because that's really table. About a 2.3% trade, and looking at about maybe a 3 to 4 to 5% potential there on XVG. But I'd be a little tentative, man. I think that the better risk to reward probably lies on the higher time frames. If we can get that confirmed bullish TK cross on the 3-day, and if we can burst that 3-day Kumo cloud is really what I'd be looking for. I'm actually going to add this one to my watch list because this could be good, man. This could be good as long as it does what it's supposed to. As for what happens intraday, I mean, just classically, this is kind of setting up to be a good breakout trade to the upside, but I don't know. A little speculative on it. But it's worth the chance, man. You know, just looking at Ichimoku, looking at the strategy, it's worth the risk to reward ratio. You'd have a nice stop loss down here on a 15-minute close below 197, and basically taking any breaks above and pullbacks to the Tenkan and the Kijun. Doesn't look bad, man. Especially until you get that confirmed TK cross under on at least the lower time frames. Let's go take a look at the hourly. Future cloud is bullish. Chico spawns above price. You pull back to the Kijun after breaking. You broke out of the cloud. Actually, you broke out of the hourly cloud back here and buying on that BPC. Look at the hourly, man. Closing above the Kumo cloud right here. You miss a little bit of a run right there. That's cool. You wait for that pullback. You don't close below the cloud. And, you know, just beautiful. You have another opportunity to buy when price does not close below the cloud here as well. And boom, you would have captured that entire movement. No reason to sell yet, man. Really no reason to sell if you're holding XVG until that close below the hourly Kijun. And then you're basically waiting to see how price interacts with the hourly cloud as well. Looks pretty good on the 3-hour. Looks pretty good on the 8-hour. About to getting that TK cross in the 8-hour as well. Remember the rule for crosses, though, man. Remember the rule for crosses. This is kind of a weird one, too, because they've pretty much been equidistant. Now you're just finally getting that ascendancy over. So I'd be a little cautious, man, but looks like it could be okay, especially intraday if we do break this resistance line right here and respect the cloud. Could be good, man. But I think for me, since I'm more focused on BitMEX right now, I'll just be waiting to see what it does on the 3-day for a longer term position. ZERP oozed. Let's start with the weekly. Here's the thing, man. I plotted this out for ZERP oozed, I think the last time that this was requested. And this is really painful for me to say, man. And anybody that's in the members group knows this, but I'm actually and listen, this is painful for me to say, but I'm a little bullish on ZERP, man. I'm a little bit more than a little bullish, man. I think that, you know, the entire market skyrocketed. ZERP hasn't moved a goddamn inch. Reversion of the mean or sector analysis would let you know that one of these things is not like the other. Anyway, so here's the 3-day, here's my 3-day analysis right here. We've got the weekly Tenkan resistance coming in right up here around 42 cents. I do have this red box territory from 40 to 42 cents. Now, from a higher time frame perspective here, I would be looking to short this area on the initial test. Now, those are going to be scalps because I'm not necessarily looking for a position along. And really confirmation that we are entering into a bullish rally on ZERP oozed here would come on that close above 42.76 cents. 43 cents if you wanted to split the baby a little bit more. But again, I have drawn these levels to be accurate with average true range at the time that I drew them. Now, one of the things you can see, the note that I put here, should I short from this rejection of the trend line or wait for the breakdown of support? As you can see, I did not decide to short ZERP oozed, and I'm glad that I did not, because as you can see, we have this pattern that's forming. It's not really a descending triangle. It's not really a falling wedge. It's kind of like I'm not really good at anagrams, but, you know, put those two words together. You see what I mean? Now here on the weekly, we do have the time transformation trending above the zero line, which indicates that a trending trade is on the table, as well as Wadatar trending above the explosion level as well, bullishly, actually putting in more lime green volume on today's candle, so indicating bullish momentum than there is bearish momentum. So trending wise, looks good for a trade on the weekly time frame. Price action wise, you can see the squeeze of price and consolidation, looking for that nice little bump. Not able to break above that resistance trend line right now or yet, but I think that ZERP could surprise us here in the future. We are butting up against and rejecting from the weekly Tenkan resistance, so that's kind of the first sign that you want to see if you want to buy a breakout on ZERP USD, or again, look to accumulate in this tightening band until price closes down below and breaks support, which that invalidates our trade. Let's go to the 3-day. Go to the 3-day on ZERP, and we're gonna have to get a little funky with it, Scott Pilgrim style. Dun, 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 dun. The 3-day we have closed above the 3-day Tenkan. We don't have a level on the weekly that is congruent or confluent with that. We only have the weekly Tenkan above us, like directly above us. But this doesn't look too bad, man, especially on the 3-day. We see the 3-day grinding slowly toward resistance. Obviously, you're looking to short resistance whenever you're in a trading range, so I do understand and see the short on the table. On the lower time frames, that has worked out well for individuals that have been scalping to the short side, but movements to the upside have been generally more profitable, especially since this bottom off the bottom of the support level right here. And then definitely here since the close and the BPC, all right? So we closed above the Tenkan, and then we had a pullback. We had that break, pullback, continuation trade. We close above, and we continue on to the upside right now. Price struggling a little bit right now volume-wise, but I think we're going to get surprised. We do have our 3-day Kijun resistance coming in right at the top of that boundary level that I talked about. So this is basically demarcating the difference between the weekly Tenkan and the 3-day Kijun as well. Again, that level is 40 cents to 42 cents. You can call it 43 cents if you want. 42.76 cents is actually the number that I have on my chart. I think it's more accurate. But if you wanted to be more broad, you could say 43 cents. That's also pretty congruent with the current boundary directly overhead of the Kumo cloud as well. Of course, you guys know that getting in the 3-day Kumo cloud, bearish is all get out. For me, this looks good to me, man. And I have to put my money where my mouth is. So we'll continue to revisit this. Not trading this chart. Obviously, you guys know I'm not trading this chart, but yeah, break of resistance, as you can see here. I talked about the 3-day Tenkan. I have that note on my chart, break of resistance, potential breakout long. And the 3-day time transformation trending above the zero line as well. So trending indications on both the weekly and the 3-day telling you that it's okay to be looking for a trending long. But again, you're being a little tentative or a little maybe cautious with your position size because of your proximity to resistance. We do have the daily TK cross confirmed on this candle right here. Again, buying on the confirmed TK cross, not a good sign. You wait for that pullback, and that would have put you in a good position right now. You would be up about 8% from buying the pullback on the daily time frame right here. Trading inside the daily Kumo cloud as well, which would actually give us our first short-term target of about 40 cents, which is really the first area of resistance here. So looking for that break out of the resistance trend line and the touch of the top of the daily Kumo cloud and that 3-day Kijun resistance zone right here. Getting above that, we become long-term bullish. Going down to the intraday here on ZERP USD. What do we see here on the intraday? A lot of wicked ranging, man. Yeah, a lot of wicked ranging. Time transformation is going to be your best friend with this kind of behavior. Basically, just buying oversold and selling overbought has just been fantastic. I mean, this has just been extremely predictable. Look at our oscillator here, going beautifully, exactly where we want it to go, and I mean, just basically telling us what to do right now. A little bit of hidden bullish continuation here on the 15-minute chart, but running into that that 15-minute Kumo cloud. Future cloud is bearish as well. Kind of looking like that, you know, sell overbought conditions right now on ZERP USD anyways. Changes a little bit. We go a little bit more for trending momentum if price is able to get above that 15-minute cloud, which it is currently rejecting from. So intraday, I would definitely just be trading this range while price is in consolidation, not really seeing a strong move or the potential for a strong movement yet in the short term. You are watching that descending trend line and looking to take any momentum longs above that level to this zone right here between 40 and 43 cents, 42.76 if I'm actually being more accurate, and looking for potential shorts in this area. If you wanted to scale limit orders in that area, wouldn't be a bad idea, but you definitely want to be out of those trades on the close above that 3-day Tenkan, all right, or excuse me, the 3-day Kijun. Definitely want to be out of those trades to close the 3-day Kijun. That'll probably be also congruent with us trading into the cloud as well. It probably will happen quickly, so make sure you're watching your back. But overall, personally, I'm more interested with scaling into a more positional direction, a more positional trade here on ZERP or ZERP in general. And I put my money where my mouth is. Oh, man. Okay, what do we got next? Nano. Nano weekly time frame. Looks pretty good, man. You closed the weekly above the Tenkan right there, and then you had that nice BPC. You basically gave it all, the market gave it all back, but held the weekly above the resistance right there, and now breaking strongly above that Tenkan. Weekly levels of resistance, again, as you can see here, we've broken above all lower time frame levels of resistance, going to the VPVR, actually. We do have a sticky area coming in here between 33,895, so 33,895 sats, and 38,700 sats. I'd say is this zone right there. I think price is likely to get bogged down there. As you can see, we kind of, I don't know, we basically, yeah, went from one HVN, didn't really respect this HVN at all, but we kind of I had already hit this area. That was previous resistance. But basically, we just blew through this LVN right here. We do have another LVN above us, but basically, we put in a stop loss onto that LVN now. Looking to close the weekly above that level right here, 31,880, and most likely we do go directly to that that area that really starts at that 74,000, a higher $73,000 area. That's probably another 9% at least in the interim. Don't know if the pullback is going to be worth it. You definitely don't want to be in a trade, I think, if we're closing dailies below 30,000 Satoshis. Looks good on the weekly time frame. You don't really have significant resistance for quite a while, at least looking at Ichimoku. Weekly time transformation is trending above 0. Wadatar is confirming. That looks good. Let's go down to the 3-day, which is more tradable. Potentially, you're going to have that 3-day bullish TK cross, man. Price was being suppressed by the Kijun, the break above. We talked about that BPC that already occurred on the weekly time frame. And again, you might be having that that bullish 3-day cross here, confirming either this cycle of 3-day or the next 3-day candle. Could be good, man. You're getting above all major resistance, at least from this accumulation zone. Not trading inside the 3-day Kumo cloud yet. You've actually, because of how fresh this is with price data, it's going to take us a while to get there. But does look not too bad. The 3-day is overbought, has been overbought for 6 days right now. So be a little cautious. But again, whenever you get a big candle like this, it is going to throw off your indicators just a little bit. So you do need to know how to manage for that and position appropriately. Let's go down to the daily. Daily, you did get that bullish TK cross back here on the 27th of March. Very nice, very nice. And trading above the daily Kumo. Trading above the daily Kumo, and what did you have, man? You broke above the daily Kumo, you pulled back down, had that nice BPC, and off to the races, man. We do have to go to the 3-day for profit targets on this. Kumo Cloud's not going to help us out, man, because there's nothing directly overhead. Again, we just going to kind of have to revert to that weekly VPVR, I think is going to be the best. Let's go to that weekly VPVR. I would set some profit targets around here. Not going to be the most scientific application, but say what I'm looking for, and I think level is going to act as resistance. So I would have a bullish take profit target at about 36,000 sats and resistance coming in around that $38,600 level. You know, you can call it however you want, but around that $38,000 level. Now there is an LVN above that. On the way to an HVN around 41,000 sats. Getting above that, I don't see any more resistance. So yeah, from here to here, and whether or not we go above here, that's anybody's game. Yeah, I mean, in general, as long as price is above this weekly Tenkan and above everything on the 3-day and above everything on the daily, I mean, this looks good, man. I don't know if I'd want to jump in at the top of an uptrend right now, go down to the lower time frames and look for a pullback, which we already had right here. All right, so let's look for that on the 15-minute chart. Let's look for the Kumo Cloud to hold. If so, that represents a good buying opportunity if price is able to bounce nicely off of that. Otherwise, getting down below that, you're probably looking for a more significant pullback. But honestly, after a movement like that, consolidation. Either we continue on aggressively, in which case you have to take the chance and buy pullbacks to your support zone right here. And if this is support, then there's no reason for price to retrace that further. Meaning I would want to be out of the trade I would want to be out of any intraday trade if we close a 15-minute below 29,705. So buy zone intraday is going to be 30,250 for me to 30,754. About a 1.5% range with a soft stop loss on a 15-minute close below 29,705. Make sure that you guys, oh, by the way, make sure that you guys, if you guys are using Electrum, make sure that you guys upgrade to the latest version of that. There have been some issues, obviously, with, we talked about this a while ago on the stream, that there was a vulnerability, not necessarily a vulnerability like if you're using Electrum you can't get hacked, but if you make a poor choice, if you do something you know you're not supposed to, and you download the Electrum wallet, from a third-party source and not directly from the original client, and if you're not upgrading quickly when they do push out an update, apparently there is some issue right now where you are able to get, again, and we talked about this before, and I actually saw the pop-up myself on one of the old computers. Mr. Tonio 44, thanks so much for the sub on YouTube, man. Essentially you'll get a pop-up that asks you to that there was an error with sending your transaction or something like that, and it'll ask you to download some kind of plugin, and if you click on that, it takes you to a third-party software site, and it downloads malicious code onto your computer that allows them to try to steal your private keys. Don't do that. Don't ever click on any pop-up that comes up from using any kind of software. Navigate to the website of the software creator, so this would be the Electrum official website, and download the updated version. Uninstall the old version of Electrum from your computer. Make sure you obviously back up your seeds and whatnot. But please, 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 if you're using Electrum, upgrade to the latest version. This has kind of been like a running gun issue with Electrum lately. So they have been updating frequently. So make sure that you are checking that at least on a weekly basis and upgrading to the latest version. Again, I only ever saw the pop-up once. Haven't had an issue with it since. But for those of you who don't have any idea of what's going on, it's just kind of one of those things, man. When a vulnerability has been located, they're going to try and hammer it, dude. So be careful. Nothing you have to worry about unless you make a poor decision. If you download malicious code, you're going to have a bad time. French fry, pizza. French fry, pizza. Anyways. JR, thanks so much for the sub on YouTube, man. Use the hit BTC Nano chart. Why would I want a chart on hit BTC? See what you're talking about. What's the difference? The fact that it sold off in one 15-minute candle on hit BTC, and the fact that it took two 15-minute candles to sell off on Binance? There's no difference, man. That's the same chart. JR says, hey, can I ask your opinion of Ravencoin? Thank you. Since it's a clone in some sense of BTC. I don't have any strong opinion on Ravencoin fundamentally. Roger that, brother. I don't have a strong opinion on its French fries with vinegar is good sometimes. Yeah, I like French fries with vinegar actually. I just ate I had some jumbo butterfly shrimp yesterday. It was fantastic. Oh, vinegar. Woo! Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion fundamentally on RVN. I got a couple. I do have a couple buddies that are mining RVN, and you know they're pretty fond of it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't have a strong opinion myself. Let's see. But we'll look at the chart, man. That's kind of my speciality. 15-minute chart looks pretty good, man. 15-minute chart looks pretty good for at least a retest of 1330. Yeah. I like that. That looks good. And you got, a very clear defined area where you want to be out of the trade, 1251. Got about 2.38% risk for about 4% gain and potentially higher. Now, let's look at it on the higher time frames. Here's the weekly. So we have the daily Tenkan coming in right here. That's the support level that we were talking about. We've got the 3-day Tenkan Kijun right here, congruent with the weekly Tenkan. So a lot of levels right here. So, I mean, this is pretty clear cut to me, man. And you'll see this as we go down. We had a weekly buy signal from time transformation right here. Got another one right here, scaling us into the position right here. Beautiful, beautiful situation right there. We're about to get that weekly cross under. So that's something to keep in mind. But we could get a continuation cross right here. So just keep that in mind. The weekly hasn't closed. But yeah, this is pretty clear cut in my eyes, dude. 1251. If price is above that, it's going to continue. It's going to consolidate at this level and probably push higher. Below 1251, we're going to 995. Yeah, that's pretty clear in my eyes. 1251, 995, the only levels of support and resistance on the chart. Michael Banks, hey man, thanks so much for your support, man. Actually, I did like a full like 20 minutes on Verge. Jasper does a great job with the timestamp. So if you want to, the video will be done here in about 10 minutes. So if you just want to go look at the timestamp for Verge, you can click on that. It'll take you right to it, man. But yeah, I looked at every time frame on Verge, talked about where I think it's going. Let's see, Raven coin here on the 3-day. Yeah, I would say as long as we're above 1251, looks pretty good, man. Daily time frame, holding that daily Tenkan, man. The daily Tenkan is actually tilting up a little bit. Haven't even closed the daily below that. Putting in a little bit of a bullish hammer candle on the daily. Of course, we got some time before the daily closes, but doesn't look bad, man. Time transformation, putting in some bullish hidden divergence right back here. Didn't reach the overbought level yet. And you can't call this a continuation cross because the daily is below the 0 line, but... and Wada Atar is not confirming that. So not something I'd want to buy on the daily time frame just yet. But in fact, I'd kind of want to see this intraday pattern get traded back into right here. I'd drawn this ascending channel. Ascending channels generally do break to the downside. But yeah, intraday, I'd say this doesn't look too bad, man, for some stabs up at longs. Getting down, closing below that 1251, then you are out of the trade, sir. Out of the trade. Why did ETH Classic go up suddenly? Reason? Well, probably a lot of people market bot. If this is your first time to the show, man, so sorry, because I'm not trying to be sarcastic. Just when people are saying, hey, why did something go up so high so fast? A lot of people bought. Like, that's the reason. There's probably wasn't a news event. If there was a news event, I guarantee you that it didn't go up. Okay, how can I put this, man? How can I put this? So let's take EVX, for example, right? So that EVX news got released. The people who were able to if you cannot trade news in cryptocurrency, right? Because let's take that EVX trade. The moment that news hit the market, unless you have a bot that because there are people that do this, unless you have a bot that scans like CCN or CryptoPanic or something like that, which actually with CryptoPanic you can plug in a pretty good bot, but that scans news and market buys whenever there's like a bullish headline, because you can create a dictionary of associated bullish terms and then a dictionary of associated bearish terms. So you could create an automatic you could create a bot algo that buys bullish news immediately as soon as it's released on the presses and sells bearish news, for example, right? You can do this. There are people that do this. In general, I don't think they have the best results overall. Sometimes they capture big moves, and if your risk management is good, like EVX, if you're able to capture that, one could argue that, hey, you only need a good trade like that. But again, if your risk management is good, because I think you're going to take a lot of losses, because generally when news is released, nothing happens. Or it would move in the opposite direction that you would think, right? So those few times that you are in crypto to like catch like a 50, 60, 100% pump or greater, if you had put, you're thinking like, that's the only move I need to capture, man. But you would have had to put the right amount of money into that trade to make it like this get rich quick type scenario. And that means that all the losses that you would have taken along the way using that same position size would have completely wrecked your account. Most people that I know who do botting of that nature are marginally successful. Man. And I mean, I just have to put these reality checks on you there, man, because if you're a retail trader, this isn't magical get rich quick, man. This is the newest asset class that you should be learning to trade in, and that does represent amazing opportunities for returns if you allow your winners to run. But you should approach it conservatively, like you should any market, if you want to be a trader long term. If you want to be an investor and just value invest, go ahead. That's totally fine. That's a portion of my strategy. I'm more of a trader, but that did not work out very well for 2 years for anybody that bought for the end of 2017. So just keep that in mind. There's always going to be these market cycles. And a lot of people that bought at the end of 2017 don't have the courage and have been demoralized to buy more now. So, but any decent trending strategy worth your salt would have had you out of Bitcoin at 12,000 at the very least. So. Okay, so it's 5 minutes left in the show. I can't look at anything else, guys. I'd love to. Looking at Ethereum Classic right here. You're getting continual rejection from that 15-minute Tenkin. You're below the cloud. Looks like a good opportunity for a little bit of an oversold trade, but I don't know. Not really feeling it. If there was an area of the chart that you were going to buy, I mean, this is the area, right? This is definitely the area. I'd say aggressive and conservative stop losses right there. And you'd be at least looking for, I mean, you're looking for a retest of the Kijun, you're looking for a retest of the cloud. If price is able to rally here and get above the 15-minute Kumo cloud, then I think we could push higher. But yeah, I mean, this does kind of look like a bull flag. You guys know about chart patterns. But if I draw it like this, could be all right, man, but let's see. If that 15-minute closes above the Tenkin, you could I would probably go if I was going to trade Ethereum Classic. The 15-minute buy signal right here, already up about 1.5%. Not a bad trade. This is where you're probably taking a little bit of profit because you're intraday trading Ethereum Classic, and you're taking 50% of profit right here, and you're looking to take more profits at the Kijun, and then you're letting this thing run as far as possible. Scaling back in with a confirmed BPC above the Kumo cloud right here. All right, so boom, 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 boom. K7 Jixer says, just the beginning for ETC. Thanks, Batam. Appreciate it, my good friend. All right, guys, let's start wrapping her up, man. Of course, you guys are the best crowd, best audience in the world. I mean, this is the, I'm not like trying to dick ride or anything here, but I mean, just seriously, guys, I get to come on this show every day and talk to some of the greatest people in the space. I get to work with some of the best members, some of the best traders in the space in the Kraken Cryptocurrency Premium Trading Group. I mean, you guys, as I constantly say, seriously contribute to the positive aspect of my life right now. So this has all been really good. I'm really, I don't know. I don't have words for how awesome for how well this has gone and the reception that we received. So, and I know just personally from the DMs that I receive, from the conversations that I have, that people are learning and improving their trading strategy. So thank you so much, man, for following, for subscribing, for liking, for stopping by on Twitch and subbing and liking and following over there. It's much appreciated, man. Every little thing that you guys do helps us grow and helps get this information in front of the eyes of people who I think need to see it the most. So with that being said, if you guys want to help us out a little bit more, if you want to go over to topg.crackingcryptocurrency.com, give us an upvote. It does help us push us up the Discord server ranks. Again, we went from like 300 to 3. Oh, great. We actually went from 13 to 7 just during the show, man. So much appreciated, man. Thank you guys so much. Just a little fun thing to see what we can do with the community, man. You guys are awesome. I much appreciate the support. If you guys do want to pick yourself up some Cracking Cryptocurrency merch, it is 15% off for the next 2 days. If you want to get a coffee mug, a t-shirt, there's a lot of stuff. We got all kinds of stuff on there. Phone accessories, cases, stuff for your baby. You can get a kid's t-shirt, whatever. You know, I have a 15-month-old daughter, and she rocks around in a Cracking Cryptocurrency shirt. So anyways, guys, that's about all I got. Let's see, is there anything else? Oh, yes. If you guys have not already, go check out the Cryptocurrently show that I did last night with Gabriel from X42 Protocol. Fantastic guy to talk to. It was a really good conversation, really good, just 2-hour long form interview. You know, if you guys, you know, have the patience and have the time to go watch that, I do highly recommend that. Watch that video. Gabriel did offer, he's going to airdrop 50 X42 to anybody who leaves their X42 address with a suggestion for a decentralized application they'd like to see on the X42 blockchain over the next 24 hours. So actually that started last night, so you have until about 7 p.m. tonight, Central Daylight Time, to leave those comments. So recommend going, watching that show, leave the comment, get yourself some more X42, guys. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, and/or death threats, you can leave them in the comments section down below. Just wait until the show's over, and you can leave a comment. Make sure to check out Jasper's timestamps. Tip that guy some crypto, man. He works hard for nothing. One of the best in the business. And of course, if you want to trade along with us in the premium trading group, get access to my indicators and strategies, our private Discord community, my webinar series designed to teach you how to build your own if this then that strategy and manage your risk like a professional, then you can of course check out the link at the top of the screen, premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Thank you guys so much for all the likes, all the views, everything. You guys are fantastic. Until tomorrow, guys, trade safely. Of course, I've been Justin Wise, and I hope I've helped crack cryptocurrency for you guys today.